Hey guys, it's Rye, and I'm back today with another deck profile, and this deck is quickly becoming my favorite deck to play. I'm not gonna lie. I've been having a lot of success with Shadow Paladin Ildona build, which is, I think, severely underrated, but this deck is smashing it, and I think it might be my new favorite. So if you couldn't tell, it's a Prism build, Bermuda Triangle deck. So let's just dive right into it, because there's a few things to discuss in my build. So first we have Prism, Smile, Koro. She has to be your starter if you're running Prisms. She works with Labrador's effect so well, and is just a great starting Vanguard to begin with. There's no counterblast cost or anything like that. I always hate that with starting Vanguards, and you have to like counterblast to get anything of their effect to work. So this is just a nice little free card, and she's adorable. Then we've got 8 crit. I'm running 4 Prism Miracle Canary and 4 Comical Rain, or Rainy, and that's pretty much just because I want the 5k, just in case I'm in a really bad situation. I can still boost for 5k and probably hit numbers. So yeah, that's why I go for her over the 4k crit. Then we have 4 draw, Prism Miracle Adria. Just good to have that extra. I was going to do 12 crit, but I think having the draw is really nice. It's just nice when you hit a trigger when it hits your damage zone to be able to get an effect that's not just the 5,000. If a crit hits your damage zone, it's kind of a waste. So at least this you get the card, and it's never bad to get that extra card in hand. So I think it's good to run the 4 draw. And then, obviously, 4 heal. I love the art on this card. I think it's one of my favorite arts I've seen so far in the game. Then we've got grade 1s. 4 perfect guard. Just standard. I still can't rationalize using less than 4. So I always use 4, and it hasn't hurt me yet. Then we have 4 Prism Romance Mercury, I don't know. She's ridiculous. She's a 10k when she attacks, as long as you have a Prism Vanguard, and you probably always will. She's just outrageous to open the game with, on your first turn if you go second, to open with 10ks is such a pain for the opponent. It's just great early game pressure, which is awesome because this deck has really good late game pressure too, so if you can just maintain that the whole time, you're going to have no problem, I think, with your opponent. Now here's where it gets a little different than most builds I've seen. I run 4 Prism Image Clear. One of the reasons is because I don't run any Celtic, which I'll explain after, but I guess I'll explain it now because I kind of have to. So the reason I run her is because I don't run Celtic, and the reason I don't run Celtic is because I find that I have other grade 2s, which I'll get to, that serve me better than having a 9k, and Clear can still achieve the bounce effect to get that plus 4k to somebody, and she stays in the back row. So she's more protected, and since she's more protected, I can just always bounce her, so she's pretty much always there. I don't have to worry about replacing her with anybody. So I find her great, and I think, she's a 7k booster anyway, so either way, she's good. So that's my reasoning behind that. Then I run 2 Sedna. Again, people say run 4, but to me, I don't want to run more than 10 cards that don't have Prism in their name, just because I don't want to get into the late game and not be able to use Labrador's effect, or just the other cards that are based around having Prism. It's a sub-clan, and people can complain about it, but the best thing to do is just try to be as consistent with the sub-clan as you can. So my number was 10. I said I wouldn't exceed that, because that's 1/5 of the deck right there, more so because you're taking out your starter. So yeah, I only run 10 non-Prism cards. and it's the Comical Rain, My Perfect Guard, and Sedna. So those are the 10. Then we have grade 2s. I run 4 Prism Romance Lumiere. Again, just like Mercury, it's a ridiculous card. It's a 12k attacker. I mean, that hits, I think, every Vanguard. Are there 13? Yeah, I think there are some 13s, but it's really situational. And by the time they get that out, you should have grade 3s anyway, so it shouldn't matter. Pretty much, Lumiere with a Sedna behind it hits 20, so that's awesome because that's another stage that you hit if your opponent has a 10k Vanguard. So it's a really sick card. Plus it can intersect because it's grade 2. It's really one of the best cards I think in the deck. So definitely have to run 4 of that. Then we have 4 10k vanilla Prism Smile Agarion. Just really good 10k beater. Can't go wrong with that. Obviously running her over Aqua because she's got Prism in her name. Okay, now I'm running 3 Prism Image Rosa. Now people say don't run her, this is where I should be running Celtics, or Celtics, whatever. But I disagree. And this is because this card late game wrecks people. It gets plus 3k when you have a Vanguard with Limit Break 4, which all of the Vanguards in this deck do. So when you have that out, you put her out, she's an 11k when she attacks. That combined with Lumiere is rough endgame for the opponent because you're hitting all kinds of crazy numbers and it's really hard to guard. If you have a Celtic, it's 9k, it's always 9k. I mean, you get the bounce, but like I said, I have the clears for that, and I've been getting them off enough that having Celtics they either wouldn't work because I'd run out of soul, and I don't want to have to put Feluca or anybody in there to make up for that, because that just makes the whole deck run not as consistently, I think. So I just think Rosa's amazing. I think she's such a good card. I think the art's sick, and yeah, I haven't had any problems running her. She's only ever helped. So then we go into grade 3s. This is going to be pretty expected, but it is what it is. Prism Image Vert. Obviously, she's sick on her own. She's 11k base, which is nice. Gets you out of that 10k zone, which actually helps more times than you'd expect. That extra 1,000 really does make a difference. So people that say it doesn't don't know what they're talking about. And obviously, her effect is great. If she's a Vanguard, if you have more than 4 Bermuda Triangles, or if you have 4 or more Bermuda Triangle rear guards, she gets plus 2k, so that makes her 13k right there. Ridiculous. And then when you ride somebody on top of her, that whole effect is just outrageous as it is. This is the card that the whole deck's kind of based around, for Prism Promise Labrador. She's everything. I mean, she's really everything. She is one of the sickest cards, I think, in the game, and I don't know why everybody doesn't see it. Like I said, 11k base, that extra 1,000 puts her in another league, right to start. When she rides on top of Vert, if you're at Limit Break, she gets to 31,000 just to start before she has any boost or anything on that first turn. And her effect is ridiculous. And with another crit, so it's 31k to crit to start with if you have nothing behind her. It's just insane. Yeah, she's based on the situation of needing to use her counterblast for prisms and needing to call for prisms to get her effects, but like I said, you're only running 10 non-prisms, so the odds of you not being able to pull this off is slim to none. I've never not been able to pull it off every single turn. And if you push with her 3 turns in a row with her effect, your opponent can only guard for so long, and they're going to be scrambling to try to stop it, and it's just really, really tough to get past once she gets going. Even if you don't ride her on top of her, she's still ridiculous, and there's plenty of games where she's won it just on her own. So she's an awesome card. there's not much more to say about it. The deck runs really smooth and very consistently, very, very consistently, which I personally really love because I tend to have a lot of problems with any sort of deck that relies on any amount of chance or top decking. Usually really doesn't work well with me. But this deck is really consistent. There's plenty of ways to get high numbers, plenty of combinations of cards, so you don't need to depend on any certain card to come, obviously outside of one of your grade 3s. But even if you don't get Labrador, Vert's a great secondary Vanguard for a grade 3. Like, more than enough. So yeah, so that's the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile. I know I said a Tsukiyomi build coming, but that kind of fell apart because of people not shipping things right and then me getting frustrated and canceling orders. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but I'm kind of happy I found this deck anyway because I think I'd like this better, just in terms of consistency. I was playing a Coral deck for a bit, and the Ride Chain I'm not a Ride Chain person, so I'll just leave it at that, and that's why I ended up with Labrador. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'm hoping to get some actual battles up on the channel now. I found a weekly tournament that I get to go to, that's a Vanguard tournament, which has a lot of really cool decks and a lot of different types of players, so it's, I think I'm going to try to record some of those matches and put them on the channel, so you can look forward to that. And that's all. I'll see you guys later. Bye.